what we're going to do today is looking at how can we actually navigate through this year, which is going to be very probably some uncertainty. So basically all we need to do is to rest, okay? But not REST, not lepak and do nothing, okay? RES stands for actually to review, okay? There's no better time than now to actually look at where you are financially. And then next is to actually enhance your financial well-being if you can see that how you can better improve your current financial situation, because in uncertain times we need to be more cautious. And of course, finally, is how we can get the best out of the same income that we have. All right, some of us may not have any pay increment this year or bonuses. So with the same amount and with rising prices, rising GST, things are getting more expensive. What can we do to still maintain our current standard of living? All right. Now, so just a very quick intro. I think all of you would be very familiar with all these logos. Yes, these are all the social enterprises under NTUC Enterprise. And MoneyOwl joined the rank in 2018. So we were set up in 2018 under NTUC Enterprise for just one very important mission, that is to help people plan their finances better so that we can all live fulfilling lives and a better financial future. So then, of course, you may say that there are so many banks and insurance companies out there. So why are we different? Okay, so we are different because we try to make financial planning as affordable to everyone. All right, because our job is to serve the ordinary Singaporeans, okay, ordinary families. So we are a licensed financial advisory firm. So we offer insurance, investment, and will writing services. So again, there may be banks and insurance company also offering the same services. So why are we different again? All right. So there are three things that we stand out from the crowd. And I'm very proud to say that because number one, we actually incorporate CPF into your financial planning, especially if you're planning for retirement. By ignoring CPF or not knowing how much your CPF is going to be 20, 30 years down the road, then your retirement planning will never be accurate. Trust me, your retirement plan figure will not be accurate if you do not incorporate CPF. And in CPF being a very complex tool for our future security, not everyone can do it. Okay, probably MoneyOwl is the only one who could do it. Okay, because we're a very special calculator to do that. And number two, all our advisors, in fact, including myself, all the staff are fully salaried, so we do not receive any commission. So that means, what it means to you is that our advice will be completely free. Okay, unlike insurance agent where they earn a commission, then there's always this vested interest. Whether true or not, we do not know, that they may actually sell us more expensive products so that they get higher commission. All right. And the third thing is financial education programs. Okay, so what this is why all of you are here for. Try going to your insurance company or to your bank and ask them for financial talk. I don't think anyone can offer that other than MoneyOwl. All right. So because I strongly believe, or rather we strongly believe, that financial knowledge and education, that is where we can empower you with those information to help you make at least informed decisions with your finances. And of course, very quick, within 1 minute, to summarize myself, I've been in the industry for more than 20 years. So prior to joining the industry, I was teaching. I taught in secondary school, JCs, and polys as well. And I decided to quit to become an insurance agent in 1998. So that I have the flexi hours to look after my two young girls at that time, who are now in their 20s already. And during the 14 years in the insurance industry, I really have seen all the good, bad, and the worst, the ugly side of this industry, because it is a pyramid selling structure where agents' income are driven by commission. So that is where, and just in case you do not know, investment linked product, ILP, actually commands, pays out the highest commission. So that's why most of the time, if you go and see your insurance agent, very often they will recommend you to buy an ILP, all right? So it may not, even for investment product, the fees charges are very high. So you may not actually be getting the best or the most suitable product or at the lowest cost, okay? However, at MoneyOwl, all our products are at low cost. All right, let's officially start our webinar. Okay, I would like to understand how you think about what we are going to go through this year. So let's scan the QR code, all right, that you see on the screen, and answer this question. What do you think? Because not everyone, I know all of you here are coming from different companies. Maybe it's a challenging time for my industry or for my company, but it may not be for your case, all right? So what do you think this year is going to be like? Would it be a better year or would it be the same? All right, so I could hope you could just participate in this very short survey. Quite mixed. Worse, same, better. Wow, I like that. Very positive. Okay, we are definitely going to be better after listening to my webinar. All right, we will definitely going to be a better than 2022. Okay, so we have 18. How many do I have in the group? Okay, I have more than 70 people. So there are a lot more still deciding how this year will turn out to be. Okay, looks like not everyone. Okay, I got 21 now. Okay, some of you not sure. Some of you worse than. Okay, some would think that is better than, many of you think that, I think all of you, those who think it's better than 2022, you must be working for the government, right? I'm quite sure you're working in the state board or ministry, right? That's why you feel that's going to be better. All right, okay, so 23, we shall just stop the survey here. Okay, so quite mixed, all right? So quite balanced. Something is better, some people think it's worse. I won't know. Okay, it's just like if you go and listen to any talks from the banks or investors asking them about the market outlook, okay, nobody is going to tell you it's going to be, what is it going to be? Well, I will let you know in December, okay? Come back for another talk in December. I will let you know whether is it better than last year or not, okay? So, but what do we know so far? What have we seen so far are all these headlines since last year. What is going to be like for this year? That the stock market is not going to do well, you know, people will actually be selling, buying more bonds because of stability, of better rates. And then if the US side are not doing well, and then it will definitely affect Asia, and especially Singapore in a very small little red dot. I always say that when US sneeze, we'll catch a cold. Okay, when the world catches a cold, we will actually get pneumonia. Especially, you know that it's not helping that our GST has gone up and it will go up again to 9% next year. So what does that mean to us? So how does and we also know that throughout, not just Singapore, every country in other part of the world are also facing very high inflation, maybe a rate they haven't seen in decades, or maybe never seen in their history. So how are we going to, so we are definitely, Singapore is very small, all right? We're very dependent on the world. So we can't expect. So at our end, our economy will also slow down. We'll also still be facing a high inflation. And according to report, this high inflation will probably continue for at least for the first half of this year. Okay, let's hope for the best. But on the whole, what do you think is the outlook of 2023? So our mascot, if you look at our mascot, basically they already tell you the answer. Okay, that this year is going to be uncertain. So we have to be careful. All of us have to be prudent with our savings, with our spending, not savings. We have to be prudent with our spending. All right. And then for some of us, we may also need to strengthen our financial health. So how do we know whether do we need to strengthen our financial health or not? Or are we already financially very healthy that we don't have to do anything? So the only way to find out, okay, so is to rest. Okay, meaning to say the first thing you always have to look at your own financial situation first. All right, and see whether are there rooms for improvement. Okay? And one way to improve is always to be prudent on spending. And how can we actually be prudent with our spending? How can we stretch our dollar? So how do we review our financial situation? There's so many things to look at. So the best way I can only share with you is to go through our CFP, our CFP, using our CFP platform or tool, I would say, because it basically helps you to have a very clear picture. Who didn't mute? Okay, have a very clear picture of where you are today. How can we actually be have a clear picture? This CFP tool basically does not just show you where you are today. It also show you where you will be in future. And then this is a time for you to find out for yourself whether are you, it may not necessarily be retirement planning. Okay, some of us may be still very young and you may not be retiring anytime soon, but your longer term goals, things like planning for your children's education, this tool will actually, CFP will actually be able to, the report will actually help you understand whether how far are you, can you actually meet your future goals? Because without knowing where you are today, then it's really very hard to plan, okay, where you want to wherever you want to be in future. It's just like if you want to go Jurong, you must first of all know where you are, right? Where's your starting point? Then you will know how much traveling time you need, and then you work backwards what time you need to leave. All right, so it's the same thing for financial planning. Okay, and knowing where you are today is very important. Okay, so having a strong financial foundation is also important to make sure that you can achieve your future financial goals. So what do we mean by strong and stable financial foundation? What does it involve? Okay, how do I know whether my foundation is strong or not? Or how do I build on a strong foundation? Okay, so that is where the first part, because after you go through your CFP, okay, so CFP, some of you, I'm not sure how many of you actually have already completed that, because we do work with all your companies, and some of you actually already do have this free access that you can actually, because this is actually retail at $99, but for many companies staff, it's actually free when we work with our HR. So for some of you who didn't attend our previous talk, or those talks, they were like sessions that were arranged by HR, you can still get this CFP for free today. So this is the promo code, okay, CPVFNM, right? So you can use this code. You can also go through this journey, and you can also get report for free. So the report is about 17 pages. All right, it's about 17 pages. Now, so what is in this report? The very first segment, there are actually 5 segments or 4 segments to this report. So the very first segment is about your own financial health. That means your current financial situation. So so they will show you your 4 financial ratios. So what are actually financial ratios? So financial ratios is a snapshot of your current financial well-being. Are you healthy or not? So it's just like your blood. You go for your blood test, get your blood test report. So it indicates to you. So we have a benchmark for you to measure against, very much like your blood test report. So it will tell you whether are there any pitfalls a few months down the road, any potential issues that you should take note of. Okay, so if you do, all right, then that is where you need to watch out. All right, so what are the 4 financial ratios that you see? So of course, the CFP report, the other segments will talk about, other than your financial health, would be your retirement planning goal, your children education planning goal, your are you adequately insured? All right, so if you go through the report, those of you who have already completed the report, you will basically know what I mean. So it's a very comprehensive, and I would say it's a very robust tool that will encourage you to do it if you have not. All right, now the 4 ratios, to us, the most important, this is like a gatekeeper, okay? Your emergency fund or liquidity ratio is just like a gatekeeper. If you have not met this emergency fund, or if you fail this ratio rather, then basically you shouldn't do anything else. All right, that means you shouldn't be investing. All right, you should actually be focusing on building up your emergency fund, especially in current times or in current economic climate. We know that the job may not be very certain. All right. So then you should actually pay more attention to making sure that your emergency fund is healthy. So how much do we need? You actually need 6 months. So what does this ratio actually measure, or what does it actually mean? Is that should I lose my current source of income, okay, then all my savings in the bank, all right, how long can it last me if I want to continue with my current standard of living? All right, so in other words, your savings in your bank, your fixed deposit, anything that is cash equivalent that you can quickly convert into cash, all right, divide by the money expenses that you need every month, you should minimally last you for 6 months. So that is basically what this means. All right. Now, and savings ratio, the next one is how much are you saving every month? Okay, so again, this is okay. Other than the liquidity ratio, this one is a general guide. I would say it really depends on your personal circumstances, your age, your life stage. All right, so let's say if you are in a sandwich where you have young children and you have elderly parents to support, then I would say at least 10%, because it can be difficult to save 15% or even more. However, if you are single or you don't really have a lot of financial commitments, then you should be actually saving about, you actually have the means, or rather, you actually have the means to save about 40%. All right, so that's why I say this 15% is just a very in the average. So you assess it for yourself. How much can you afford to save? The more, the better lah. And then the next thing, also very important, is the TDSR. We call that the total debt servicing ratio, and this debt includes all your borrowings. That means it will include your housing loan, your mortgage, and whether you're using cash or CPF, okay, as long as it's a mortgage, and then your any other loans, like your renovation loan or your car loan, everything you have to pay back as a loan every month. So over your gross income. So it should not be more than 40%. And again, in current times and economic climate, I would suggest is 35%. I would revise it down. Actually, I would do a haircut. Actually, I would say it should not be more than 35%. Okay, in my opinion. And then, of course, this guide, okay, this number is only for consumers. That means, for the banks, that means the MAS guideline, okay, the MAS rules for the banks is the TDSR ratio is 55%. Okay, actually, it has really revised down. It used to be 60%. Okay, it has revised down last year to 55%. So, so what it actually means is that when you walk into the bank and you want to borrow money, what the bank would look at is, again, what other loans that you have before they can decide whether they want to lend you or not. So let's say if all your borrowing are less than 55%, okay, chances are the bank will still lend you money. But at a personal level, so that is corporate finance formula, that 55%. But at a personal level, we call it a personal finance. Our ratio, all right, should be less than 35% or less than 40%. Okay, so far so good. Now then, finally, the next ratio is what we call the non-mortgage debt servicing ratio. Right? This actually, I would actually think this is more. I would actually feel this is more important than the total debt. Why? Because most of us, our housing loan we use. So this non-mortgage debt servicing ratio is very specific to Singapore. Okay, it's very specific to Singapore. Anywhere in the world, in any finance book you look at, they will only have this total debt servicing ratio. Because other countries don't have such a thing called CPF. So most people actually use CPF to pay for the housing loan. So if you only have a housing loan, then, or rather your housing loan only uses your CPF contribution to pay, you don't have to top up any cash, then chances are this ratio will be below 35%. Okay. But if you have other loans, then can still be under 35%. However, it doesn't mean that you are healthy. All right. Okay, so a very good analogy is just like you go for your health screening and you look at your cholesterol level. you know, the reading will have this total cholesterol, right? Total cholesterol. So if you look at total cholesterol, could be healthy, but it doesn't really mean, does it really mean you're healthy? You actually have to look at the other three breakdowns, these other three readings that they actually break down your total cholesterol to LDL, which is your low density lipids, and then your HDL, and then your triglycerides. So you should actually be looking at your LDL and make sure that they are low, triglycerides, because these are the ones that's going to choke up your bloodstream. So likewise, okay, in personal finance, okay, I want to actually pay more attention to my non-mortgage debt, because all this, other than house, everything else had to pay using cash. That's why you realize that it's very conservative. You should not be more than 15%. And you also realize that it's actually using your take-home pay. Because other than house, everything else, your car loan, your renovation loan, has to pay it off using your using your take-home pay. So far so good, because most people, they may have a buffer in their CPF OA, which is the account that you use to pay off your housing loan. So in other words, so let's say if you lose the income, your housing loan may not be affected in the near term, because it can probably support you for another 6 months. You can still probably be able to pay your mortgage for another 6 months or a year. However, let's say if you lose your income, all right, then if your non-mortgage debt repayment is too high, then you may run into problems of not being able to pay off your debt. So far so good. All right, not sure, am I clear? All right, so in this room, okay, so I'm supported by my 3 other colleagues. So Daphne, Joan, and Albert. So if you were to have any question, feel free to type in the chat. Just address it to anyone so that they can see, and they will be able to answer your question quickly. So you can private message me, but then I will probably only be answering them at the end of the session. Okay, now next. So that is the financial ratios. So how can we actually, so that is how you assess your current financial situation, right? So step 1, under the rest, to review your financial situation, the best way, all right, or the easiest way, I would say, is to use the CFP, use our CFP tool, because we'll do all the calculations for you. You don't really need your own calculator at all. So far so good. All right. So step 2, all right, E, what do we need to do? All right, is to enhance our financial well-being. So there are 3 things you should do to enhance your financial well-being. 1 is to use a budget. All right. And number 2, if you have not built up your emergency fund, that means you have less than 6 months, then you should save towards your building up, meeting these 6 months of emergency fund. And of course, if you have more than that, if you are very comfortable sitting on a pile of cash, the next thing you should look at is that how can you make your cash work harder? Because if inflation is going to be 4%, then you must think of, you must look for a tool that can give you at least, if not more than 4%. Otherwise, the value of the money actually is reducing. All right. And of course, finally, save up for big ticket items, especially if you have any upcoming plans, like going for a holiday or renovation, a BTO flat is coming, planning for your wedding. All these are considered big ticket items. You should start saving up for it, all right, instead of borrowing. Okay, so what is actually a budget, and how can we start a budget? So as you can see, it's a monthly record. So that means a recording, and you have to do it on a monthly basis to look at how much income you have and where your expenses go to. All right, so you are deciding in advance. So in other words, that means this budget should be done at the beginning of the month, all right, or at the end of the month for the following month. So it's a plan of how you want to allocate the income. Now, so let's say if your income is fairly fixed, like us, a fixed salary, then it's quite straightforward. Your budget, you can just repeat it. Okay, it could be the same every month. Okay, your budget would be the same every month. Okay. However, let's say if your pay varies every month, like say for example, probably let's say you're in sales, maybe you have a basic salary and then you also earn commission, or you get other allowance, like overtime pay, etc. So your income may varies every month. So if your income varies every month, means sometimes high, sometimes low, then you probably cannot spend the same way every month. Otherwise, you may run out of money in certain months. All right. So how can we actually do it? Now, so for those of us here, let's say if you're the first time doing a budgeting and you find it, wow, so how much do I think, how much is too much or how much is enough? Then I have this 50, 30, 20 guide for you. But again, it's a guide, yeah. So it's not cast in stone that it must be 50, 30, 20, all right? So basically this guide says that you bucket your income, your money into 3 buckets. Okay, so you divide it into 3 main categories. The first category is your savings. And the next category will be your fixed expenses, or we call it the essentials, all right? Or your must pay bills, the needs, things that you need to pay, must pay on, all right? And of course, the next one is your non-essential, things that you want to, that you can vary, the discretionary in your spending, that you spend on yourself. You can spend more if you have more, you can, and you can spend less if you have less. So that is the second bucket. All right, so 50, 30 means on average, okay, from what I can understand, what I see is that most people will actually spend about 50% on fixed expenses. So, and then, so if you save 20% of your income, of your take-home pay, and then that means, and you spend half of it on your fixed expenses, that means the rest will be on your variable expenses. But again, this guide, all right, will probably apply, or this 50, 30, 20 is probably true for people with families, okay, with children, because they have higher financial commitment, so the fixed expenses will be higher. All right. However, let's say if you don't have much financial commitment, then your fixed expenses should be very low, especially if you're staying with parents. Okay, who are paying for all the bills, then your fixed expenses should be very low. So you use this guide according to your own situation, all right, to your own. But at the end of it, what we are trying to tell you is that you should prioritize saving as part of your spending. That means you must always pay yourself first, always save part of it before you spend. So how do you start a budget? 4 steps. First step, of course, you must first of all estimate what's your income. Like what I say, not everyone has the same amount of income every month. Some of us here, your income may vary. So that means your spending will also have to vary, and your savings may also have to vary. So how do you target savings? So again, you can, let's say if your income is fairly fixed, you can't have a fixed amount, 500, 600, whatever is the amount. Or you can also use a percentage of your take-home pay. So like what I say using the guide, whether it's 10%, 50%, or 20%. At the end of the day, ultimately, saving, you have to save, regardless how much it is. You can save more, if you can't save less, but still save. That's so good. Now, so let's say especially if your income is not regular, if it varies every month, then your targeted savings is good if you put a percentage. Okay, so that you will not be overspending on certain months and overstretch on certain months. Okay, because if you earn more, you save more. If you earn less, you save less. That's so good. All right, I'm clear, right? All right, then of course, step 3 is then how much you're going to spend, and priority should be given to your fixed expenses. Because most of the fixed expenses are important bills, like your utilities, your premium, your children's enrichment classes, tuition fees, etc. So these are the essential items. So you should give priority to those fixed expenses. And then those, whatever that's best balance, then you can spend it on yourself, all right? Whichever way you want it to be. And that will be considered as a variable expenses. And you can use a budget spreadsheet, which I will show you after this, to allocate them. Now, and of course, finally, follow the budget. So if you really plan to save and then fixed expenses, say $2,000 and your variable is 1,000, then you stick to this plan. Okay. So in a budget, broadly, it's segment. I mean, there are 2 parts to the two big parts to the budget. One is the planning part, which is step 1 to 3, because it's all about writing down. And then of course, the implementation part is the action part, where you put it into action. So how do you put it into action? Before I get into that, let me show you the spreadsheet. Now, try scan the QR code. Just now I have this feedback that one of the QR code wasn't working. I hope this one works. Okay, I kind of tested it. Actually, it works. Okay, try it. All right, so this one is an Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so if you scan the QR code or use this link, you actually can you actually be able to download the Excel sheet of this budget spreadsheet that you see over here. So because it's the Excel, so whatever you enter, we will do the auto calculation for you. So it makes it very convenient. And because again, it's Excel, so I have already, okay, all the expenditure over here, everything that I could think of that people will be spending on. You may not be, you may not have a number in every field. Okay, so let's say if you don't have a maid at home, then obviously then your this maid levy will be left blank. So if that expense doesn't apply to you, just leave it blank, okay, or put a 0 and just move on. Okay, try not to delete the line because you will just mess up spreadsheet, okay, because you will not be able to calculate it. Okay. Same for expenses. Again, the variable expenses are all these expenses are what I feel that are variable. Okay, and you can spend more. You can also spend less. You can also cut down. All right, so these are the variable expenses. So you can use this Excel spreadsheet to help you. Now, but let's say if you find this spreadsheet, well, they're so tedious, but so many things are okay. Like haircut, well, I cut my hair only once a year, so how to do it? Okay, some expenditure you could probably be paying it once a year. Things like your premium, your taxes. So what you do is to divide it into 12. So per month, how much do you have to pay for your insurance premium? Because even though you are paying it only once a year, it is still going to be a large sum of money that you have to save up for. It doesn't like suddenly, the sum of money won't suddenly appear. Okay, you have to save up for that. So that's the reason why you can convert it into a monthly expenditure and know how much it is to put aside. Also good. All right. Now, so you find that, wow, this thing is so tedious. What you can do is to use a simplified one. So if you're looking at this simplified one, okay, where do I get it? It's not Excel. I actually took this, or actually I did a screenshot of a diary given out by NTUC Income. Okay, so if you have a NTUC Income insurance policy, you can call out your agent and ask them for a copy of the diary. All this found. This is found in the diary. So they have like more than 12 boxes. So it's supposed to help you track for the whole year. So it kind of like summarizes the expenditure, like all the personal expenditure become under leisure. Okay, so whichever way is easier for you. At the end of the day, you have to do it. Okay, so the only thing I don't agree with this budget is that you realize that they put savings last. Okay, that means with the income, you spend first, and then whatever that is not spent, then you save up. So this is not the recommended way of savings, because saving should be targeted, should be a regular amount every month. Because if you use this approach, then you may end up not saving at all. Okay, so again, like what I mentioned, this simplified budget with spreadsheet, you can't download it. You can take a screenshot and then photocopy it, because it is not an Excel. It's not an Excel sheet. Okay, it's not an Excel sheet. It's just a printed sheet on in the NTUC Income Diary. Okay, so it's just that you can do it on your own. All right. Okay, so how do you implement your budget? 3 steps. You need at least 2 bank accounts, I would say. But over here, I'll show you there are 3 bank accounts you need to open. Either you can actually have it with the same bank, or you can have 2 different banks. I tend to use 2 banks, okay, especially for the savings part. So one bank, okay, all of us by default would have the first one, which is where your salary will be credited into, okay, when you get your pay. And then the moment you get your salary, what you need to do is to first of all pay yourself first. That means you transfer the amount that you want to save. Don't mix it together in the same account, because 2 reasons. Number one, you will not be able to see whether your saving is growing or not. And number 2, you may end up unintentionally, accidentally spending your savings. So that's why you have to move it up. Okay, this one is a must. You have to move out the amount that you want to save. So this account, you can see that is saving slash investment. Meaning to say that it works as a savings account first if you have not met your emergency fund ratio. So you save towards it until you hit 6 months of your money expenses. After that, you can move the amount into a fixed D, okay, that can earn you a higher interest. And then the future savings, future amount that flow in, then becomes available for your investment. So far good? Clear? Now, then the next one that you need to open is for your fixed expenses. And every month you should transfer the amount, which you estimated how much is a fixed expenses. I would say put in a buffer of maybe 10%. Even though they say fixed, because like your utility bills, we consider it as fixed because it's must pay expenses. It's important, but your utility bills will not be the same every month. Some months you pay more with the taxes. If the tariffs go up, you end up paying more, right? So because it's not really a fixed amount, then you may want to put in a buffer. Now, so you put into your fixed expenses and you can gyro it. So every month your fixed expenses, be it your insurance premium or the children's transport, should be deducted from this account. Why you gyro it is because you pay all these bills at different days of the month. Some may be due on the 1st, some may be due on the 12th, some may be due on the 15th. So if you don't move it out into another account, then again, you may overspend. And then you end up not having enough balance to pay for the bills when they are due. See the logic behind? Okay, so that's how you can do it. All right, then of course, once you have transferred all this thing, whatever that is left is for you to spend. All right, so if you are using a debit card, then you will never overspend, because with a debit card, the transaction will be deducted immediately from your account. So if the transaction doesn't get through, meaning to say that you want no more money. If you're going to use a credit card, then you can't overspend easily because you do not know whether you will have that money to pay the credit card bill the following month or not. And that's where you will get into debt. All right. Now, so the second part of how you can enhance your financial well-being is to, of course, number one, like what I mentioned, build out emergency fund. Again, depending on your age and the industry you're from. If you feel that, for people who are older, meaning if you're already above 45, it may be harder for you to find another job should you be retrenched. And even if you could find a job quickly, they may not pay you the same amount as your last income. All right, so or if you're an industry whereby your company may not may go through a difficult period, and then you may suffer a pay cut or be retrenched. And maybe if it's an industry-wide thing, it may be hard for you to move on to another company within the same industry. Then you can consider actually having a bigger safety net. That means you can, instead of 6 months, you can probably save up to 9 months or up to 12 months. You don't really need more than 12 months, because I think after 6 months, we cannot find a job. I think I will panic. All right, so I think 12 months is about enough, okay, for your emergency funds. Because if you put too much in your emergency fund, then your money is not working hard enough for you. All right. And so at least if you have a bigger net, all right, to pay for expenses, you wouldn't go into debt. You won't end up borrowing, or you will not end up having to dig into a savings that is earmarked for other purpose, like your children's education, or sell off an investment at a loss. Right? So you can have a put aside more for your emergency fund. Now, for those of you who already have a very healthy emergency fund, okay, more than 12 months. I mean, I've seen people with 96 months, okay, scary, okay, but it's true. They have like 96 months of emergency fund. That is like, wow, they can actually don't work for like 6 years. They can still live like a king, okay? So then they are not being fair to their money, okay? Or rather, they're not being fair to themselves. Because if you look around, the highest interest rate is probably going in the savings, all right, is probably going to be just the same as inflation rate. So in other words, your money actually is not growing. Even though it is on par with inflation, it simply means that your money is not growing. So you should look for products that can provide you with higher returns. So when I say that, over here, you see that higher return yet charges low fees. There are many instruments out there that give you a high interest. However, they also have very high management fees like unit trust or like ILP, very high commission. So if you're going to pay a lot for the cost of this instrument, then you're not really getting the real returns. So that's why while looking out for instruments with higher returns, then you must also look at what is the fees that they're charging. Okay, and if you do not know where to find products that give you a high returns and also charges low fees, then just come to MoneyOwl. Okay, because all our products are low cost. Now, so we have compiled or rather summarized a list of all the cash investment instruments. That means you can so this is more for your emergency funds, okay? Because as the word emergency stands for, you may need it anytime. It may not be now. Okay, so you really do not want to tie it down into a long-term investment because you do not know where the emergency will be. So you want to still maintain liquid. Okay, you want to still maintain your liquidity position that if you need it, you can access it quickly. So these are the four very safe instruments. All right. So of course, SSB, Singapore Savings Bond, the rate has come down, okay, to 2.9. These are the latest rates. These are the latest rate of treasury bills. However, I would say they are not very liquid because if you look at withdrawal time, means that if I say that I'll surrender, when can I get back the money? Okay, so you realize that for SSB, you have to wait for 1 month. Okay, so I would say they're not that liquid. However, they are safe. Okay, and the rate I would say is decent, but still lower than your inflation rate. And of course, fixed D. And fixed D, there's a very wide range, all right, of between 2, up to 4.1%. And because they are, so if you want to put your money into fixed deposit, then do read the terms and conditions, because those who pay you a high rate may require you to park away millions of dollars, okay, or tens of thousands, which we may not have, all right. And also, the tenure of the fixed D may also varies from 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. So every duration, every contract, every tenure would have a different rate. Okay, so this is up to okay, the maximum we can get. And then let's say if you go for the highest that give you the highest rate, say up to 24 months, you can put away your fixed D for 24 months. But midway after 1 year or after 6 months, you need the money and you take out the money from fixed D, you basically lose all the interest. You actually don't get the interest, okay, because you actually cut short the contract. So among all these 4 instruments, what would be actually to be most suitable? In fact, MoneyOwl's Wise Saver actually mitigate all these problems in terms of liquidity and in terms of and also pays a much higher, better interest rate. And there's no lock-in period. So I would say it is suitable for everyone, right, to put their money, emergency funds for the short, not say short period of time, but just will park your emergency fund and you can access it anytime, because you just, when you sell away the units, you can get it within 1 to 2 days. All right. And basically it's a fund. All right. So it's not zero risk, it's because it's still an investment. However, it's a very low risk investment because we invest, or rather Fullerton, the partner that we work with, invest into fixed D and also T-bill. So basically we are buying these 2 things. So you can see that if these 2 things is risk-free, so in other words, then the risk would be very low, right? Okay, so that is how. And it can be a very good, you can put in as a lump sum, all right, or you can also treat it like a regular savings plan, like, because if you are saving up for your emergency fund and every month if you put it away like $200, $100, that is where you can put into the Wise Saver fund. Now, so at the moment, we are actually running a promotion. So you can see here, the rate actually has gone up because over here, as of 10 of Feb, so I have updated this number, this slide here, to be, so which is currently 4.02. This is our so-called our EDM that we actually put it as placement, so I cannot change this. So you realize that in Jan it's actually 4.01. So it has gone up a little bit, and there's no lock-in. And the promotion is that we will, for all those who do not have a YSaver account with us, if you open one, then we'll actually give you a $20 credit of the units. That means we'll put inside your YSaver account for you. So there's no lock-in. So, well, you can actually withdraw the next after 2 days. Okay. So, but scan the QR code. I will do encourage. I myself have a YSaver account as well, which I use it for emergency fund. So every month I'll put in 100, I can't remember, $100 or $200, okay, to even though I already have reached my emergency fund, I will still continue. I just treat it as a savings account. Yeah, 4.01 is not guaranteed. So it's a 5-day moving average. So that means come next week. All right. So that means the rate will always update it according to the market rate. So if the market rate goes up, your this rate will go up. If the market rate comes down, it will still come down. It will also come down. Okay. So it is a 5-day moving average. All right. So for those of you who have already accessed emergency fund and you are planning for any long-term goal, then where can you put your money? So you can, if you can afford to, then you probably want to take a little bit more risk and put away for long-term. Again, you can scan the QR code. It will bring you to our dimensional funds. So it's a broadly diversified investment. So we have 5 different portfolios for different people with different risk appetite. So let's say if you are very high risk, you have a very long, very young, very long horizon, then you can actually buy a full equity fund. Okay, but let's say if you are a retiree, you don't want to take so much risk, then you can buy a conservative portfolio. That means of a lower risk. That means most of your money will be invested in bonds. But these are for long term, so that you can get a better returns than YSaver. Okay. Now, so what is considered long term? Anything that is 10 years and above. So that means it's very good for retirement planning as well as children's education training planning as well. So this is instrument that you can look at. And what I say, it charges very low fees. So go in and have a look. You realize that we are one of the lowest fees. So far, any questions? Okay. No questions. Let's move on. I think all the questions are in the chat and it has been answered. All right. Very good. Now, moving on. So the third thing about enhancing your financial position is to save up big ticket items. And I like, okay, personally, not because I'm a MoneyOwl staff, okay, but personally, I like, why I like YSaver is because you can actually give the portfolio a name. So in my investment with MoneyOwl, so I will have one that say Hokkaido, because I really want to go to Japan. So I want to save up for the trip. So you can actually put in like, what is your goal? And then how much you want to save. And then you can see yourself, going towards that goal. I always find saving for big ticket items give me a purpose of saving. Because if you save and save and save, then sometimes you do not know what am I saving for? I keep putting away this $100. What am I saving for? But if you set yourself a goal, be it a short-term goal, a medium-term goal, or a long-term goal, it gives yourself a purpose of saving. And then when the day comes, you can take out the money without guilt. Okay, so let's say if I want to buy an OSIM massage chair, okay, which probably say it's like $7,000, and I want to buy it like maybe for 2 years. So I start saving. So by the time I get this $7,000, if I take it out, first of all, I don't have to borrow. I don't have to use my credit card. The cash is already there because I save up for it. So it gives me that sense of purpose of saving. So you can try, but that is how myself and even my children do that. Okay, so they every saving goal, they have a name for it. All right, so whatever you're saving for. Okay, so you try, see whether it works for you or not. Okay, then this is a little small activity that I have for everyone, that for you to do it at home at your own time. Okay, I use this a lot when I was teaching, or rather when I was training at IFL, my previous company. Over there, I work a lot with low income families where savings are very difficult. So the only way is to, the only way to save if your income doesn't go down, doesn't go up, is to cut down expenses. True, right? If you want to save more, it's either your income goes up or your expenses go down. All right. So how can your expenses go down? So it's by cutting down your spending on things that you can cut down on. So some people may say that, Alamak, if I drink one less cup of coffee, how much can I save? Kopitiam coffee, how much is it now? I don't know. How much? I make my own coffee, so I don't know how much Kopitiam coffee. 160 or 180? There about, right? So if you cut down 1 cup a day, all right, how much would it be a month? Okay, so this is what this activity is about. Because every drop makes an ocean. If you were to cut down a little bit here and there, and if you add up, it can be $10, $20 a month, or $30, $40 a month, or even more, especially things on transport, food. Okay, and these are all essential. If you look at all these expenses, they're actually essentials. And so within the essential spending, how can I still save money? Okay, that is how this activity, I will share more about that later on. Okay, but this is what this activity is about. Think through what is your action plan. Because if you write it down, then there is commitment. It's a discipline. Okay, there's commitment. So if you write down, I shall cut down, don't just simply, don't say that, oh, I shall cut down on bread, right? Yeah, that is very general. Okay, it can be very specific. I will take one less bread or one taxi trip a month. So how much can I save? Maybe say $20. Okay, so that is how you go through that. Okay. Now, then how are the ways that you can actually stretch your money? That means things are more expensive. I know, because I do grocery shopping for my family. I know how much things cost these days. Even a tin of what I call that condensed milk, okay, has gone up from like 190 to 250. Okay, it's definitely more than 4%. The inflation is definitely more than 4%. Some has gone up by 10 or even 20%. So how can you actually with the same amount of money still be able to live the same standard of living, buying the same things? Okay, so I'll break down into a few categories. First, of course, your groceries and food, household brands. And of course, sometimes you may have to manage your own expectation. Okay, things like tissue paper, I know some people will tell me, say, oh, the Kleenex tissue paper softer, thicker, but if I buy the NTUC brand, thinner, tears easily. Okay, so if you want to save money, sometimes you just have to manage the expectation a little bit. All right, so you buy what you need. So usually, let's say I don't know how many of you, I know guys probably will, very good in grocery shopping. So do send your husband to NTUC to buy groceries, or send them. Why? Because I noticed that, okay, or rather people share with me that they are very specific. You tell them, say, go and get a packet of rice. They really go in and just buy a packet of rice and come home. And then, but ladies, we shop differently. We usually walk down the aisle and then say, hey, this one on sale. Okay, then we say, okay, then we'll buy. Wow, okay, this one, a potato chip, they end up like buying snacks, buying things. So this, again, like what I say, all these things add up. All right, so if you have a draft up, so if you have a shopping list and stick on to your shopping list, then there are less chances of you overspending or buying too much. And of course, when you dine out, we have hawker centers, non-aircon, food court for aircon, and restaurants. Okay, so if you dine in more at hawker centers, then of course the meals will be cheaper than food court. Okay, I think it's still possible to get meals that is $3, $3.50. All right, but food court, I know no chance. Easily $4.50, $5. Okay, I don't really know much about the market price of food at hawker centers and food court, because I usually cook my own meals. And I think all my colleagues in this room can attest to that I normally bring my home cooked food for lunch. All right. So I think that is I would say is the healthiest and also most economical. Okay. So of course, one say can you eat less and reduce weight at the same time. Eat less doesn't mean you will reduce weight. Okay. It's still food is still an essential, but there are always cheaper options, right? That's what I mean. And of course, for must-pay bills, even though they are fixed expenses, how can you within it cut down? There are so many ideas into this bullet point that I may not have time to elaborate. Okay, so I shall just quickly, of course, I think many of us know, okay, a mobile plan, if you go for the contract, it's a lot more expensive, but these people sign on contract because thinking that they get a discount for the phone set. However, these days, if you buy just a phone set, it is, if you work out the sums, all right, a contract plan actually doesn't save you money. It may actually cost you more money if your usage, if you don't utilize all the features of it. So a SIM only plan is just $10, $20, okay? Because so assess your own usage. According to EMS, that stands for it's a stat board, okay, in Singapore. I think it's electrical market EMS service or something like that, but I know it's a government body. According to their research, the power you use for one aircon can actually power up 32 fans. All right, this data is what I learned in 2012, 13 when I was IFL. Okay, so I even have that picture. All right. So if you switch to fan, then you actually use less electricity. Even if you really have to use the aircon, you just turn on for like 2-3 hours to cool the room and then let the fan circulate the cold air. And then there'll be a lot of other ideas that how you can save bill. Okay, one, of course, don't let it tap running while you are washing your plates, you're washing your hair, and then even if you want to take out things from your fridge, don't open the fridge, you stare into the fridge and look at what you want to take out. Think about what you want to take out first. Open the fridge, take out the things, and close the fridge. Because when hot air goes into the fridge, that's where you will actually consume more energy. All right. And of course, finally is your insurance. Okay, it's probably a good time for you now to restructure or maybe review your insurance portfolio. We're also having some insurance promotion now to give you away free AirPods. Now, however, like what I say in the disclaimer, please don't go out. I have reviewed many insurance policies before. Sometimes there are some riders that people attach on has really obsolete, and they are just paying and paying and paying for nothing. Okay, so that is why I say review insurance portfolio, because some of the when I say review insurance portfolio, I don't mean asking you to terminate your insurance policy. Two different things. I'm not asking you to do that, okay? But it's to look at what are the riders, what are the plans that you have, what are the riders you have in your plan. Because some of the riders can be, probably there's a better, cheaper option out there, new product these days that can save you money rather than, of course, when you first bought the plan, it could be like 20 years ago. And at that moment, that rider will probably the best rider that could get in the market. But things have changed. All right, so that's why you need to review your insurance portfolio. Now, again, of course, I have people who tell me that they resist calling they are very scared to call their insurance agent because they end up buying more. All right. So if you do have that concern, then I will strongly urge you to come to MoneyOwl advisor for a second opinion, or rather for the first opinion, because we are fully salaried. So there is no agenda for us to try to sell you another insurance when you don't need one. Okay, so that is one thing. Because by reviewing and tidy up, consolidate your policies, etc., you can actually save up some money. You can actually save some money. All right, so that is so, but don't do it on your own. Okay, don't do it on your own, because you may end up again like buying a new product from your agent, or you may end up replacing your policies when you really have some health condition, or cancelling out insurance that you actually need them. So please don't do it on your own. Please do seek a proper advice. Okay. Now, and then of course, transport. This is very interesting. Okay, so telecommute. I know some companies have adopted a hybrid work arrangement. That means on certain days you work from home, certain days you work in the office. And I truly, I know my boss is in this room. I truly hope that it can be 100% telecommute, because I really save how much? if I go to office, my transport is about 380. So imagine if I were to go to office, you know, and then you add up, like what I say, every drop may ocean. If I were to add up a month, actually, I would actually be saving up about $60. And not to mention the time, you know, to and fro, I will probably end up spending 2 hours commuting, where I can actually turn on a computer in my pajamas at home. Okay, so but it's really up to your own job scope whether your job allows you to telecommute or not. Take public transport. Let's say if your job requires to travel very often, then maybe if you're going to spend like more than $120 per month, you know, then a concession pass would probably be a better option. Okay, plan your trip. So what does it mean by plan your trip? Okay, so I'm not sure how many of you actually are aware that, let's say if you take a bus, okay, and then you alight within 45 minutes, all right, if you take the bus again, all right, then you can actually it's actually considered as a same trip, continuing your trip. It's not a new trip, because we know that a new trip is 99 cents, right? So in other words, say for example, if I want to buy something from NTUC, okay, I take a bus from my house to the NTUC, is 99 cents. All right, say 6 bus stops away. Okay, when I like, if I could do my grocery shopping, buy everything I need, and hop onto the bus and come back home within, that means if I bought the bus home within 45 minutes, actually I won't get charged 99 cents. It's considered as a continuation of the journey. Okay, just in case you do not know. However, the caveat is that you cannot take the same bus service. Okay, so if I take 166, I cannot come back with 166. Okay, service 166, it has to be another service to get you home. So far so good. So that is what I mean by plan my trip. So I can do, like, say, errands. So I usually like plan my errands. Okay, I want to go to this place to get this. I want to go to that place to get that. So I will plan. So as long as I hop on to the new service, within 45 minutes is considered as a new journey. Oh, sorry, as a continued journey. So let's say if I get off, all right, do all the things I need, and then hop on another service and do another errand, then again, within 45 minutes is still considered also a continuation of journey. So get what I mean? So that is how you can also save on transport, but that's what I do. Not quite cheapo, but I find it very, very good, because otherwise I'll be spending so much on public transport. So other things like entertainment. Okay, so of course, all of us, you may have like so cable vision, or you know, so you can actually look around whether do you still need that subscription. Okay, so look out for, you can share your subscription with family members. And things like newspapers, magazine subscription, do you still need them? I already canceled my Straits Times probably like 5 years ago. All right, so that saves me like $31 a month. All right, so these are the things. If you have a newspaper in the office, make use of newspaper in the office. And personal expenses, things like gym membership. Okay, sometimes buying online may be cheaper, compare prices buying online. And let's say if essential items, especially, you can wait for the sale to get them, because at the end of the day, you'll still need them. It's just that it may not be now, but since it's on sale and you know that it doesn't go on sale very often, probably only like once a year, you know, Black Friday sale, you know, the kind, then you can actually buy when it's on sale. All right. So when I say on sale, doesn't mean wow, shampoo on sale, then every month I go and buy shampoo. Okay, so if the item is going to be on sale very often, then you can wait. All right, so this refers to items that you know rarely go on sale and you need them. So that's good. All right, so buying things on sale must be things that you need. All right, not things that, oh, okay, just because it's on sale. Don't buy just because it's on sale. All right, buy because you actually need it, and since it's on sale, save you some money. All right, I hope I'm clear on that. All right, so personal expenses a lot. Okay, when I give this talk in the past, all right, many people would share with me like, oh, going across the causeway to shop. I think some of you do that. Okay, the next thing is someone will say, oh, you know, cut my hair, you know, twice a year, you know, that kind of stuff, like, you know. So you can think about it. All right, so I given you the activity list for you to look at it. All right, so you can think about what are the action plans. And of course, for children, okay, many of us here may have young kids. So some of the highest expenses, or rather the highest expenditure bringing up a kid is always education. And that doesn't mean, and I'm not referring to tertiary education. In fact, you start paying even before they enter primary school. All right, so things like enrichment classes, things like tuition. So assess what you need. All right, they don't have to go for all the enrichment classes, be selective. All right. And then things like low cost recreational activity, even for traveling. All right, so doesn't have mean that you have to go to far away, very expensive places. Okay, even the whole thing about traveling, or it's about bonding, so you can actually do it anywhere. All right, doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go overseas. All right. And then of course, if you have very young kids like babies, then I always find hand-me-downs very practical, because kids really grow up very fast. So those who have older children, you will know what I mean. They actually grow up very fast. So, and because they don't really go out so often, so if you buy them new clothes, very often they outgrow even the clothes becomes old. So, and that becomes a waste of money. So if you use hand-me-downs, then it is more practical. You don't really have to spend so much money. All right. So do feel free to not the chat box is not for you to just ask questions. Okay. So let's say if practical ways to stretch your money, I'm quite sure all of us here, you may have in your own way methods, okay, things that you do to cut down on spending or to save money. Do feel free to share with everyone. What do you do? What are the things you do to stretch your dollar? Okay, so that is a question. So feel free to type in the chat group. So all of us can because all this whole list that you see didn't all come from myself. Okay, I also learned from other participants in the past, so that I consolidate them. So, well, if you have something that is not in this list that you have been doing, so do please feel free to type in the chat and share with everyone. All right. Now, okay, so of course, the one thing about rising interest rate, many of us get hit is because we are still paying our mortgages. So how can we reap the most out of our home loan? So what's the RIP? It's an acronym. What does it mean? So first of all, check it out. Okay, let's say whether are you eligible to refinance or reprice your home loan. In a rising rate market, we have been told that the rate will probably stay high for this year. So if you are on a float rate package, then you may want to consider switching to a fixed rate. So at least you know what is the fixed amount of loans that you're going to pay every month. All right. And then, of course, for those of us, let's say if you're using your CPF OA to pay for your loan, then make sure you have enough buffer. Don't go and invest all your OA and then, and you don't have enough money, because when you want to sell away your investment, you may be selling at a loss. It may not be making money yet. Okay, so I wouldn't really suggest people investing their OA if they do not have more than 6 months in their OA as a buffer for their housing loan. Okay, so that is one thing to take note. And of course, it's an important bill, because you will, if you pay late, be it you will have late charges. So please make sure that you have pay on time, have enough money to pay on time. If you are using, especially if you are topping up with your installment with cash or your loans with cash. Next is pay more than minimal if possible, because if you pay more, say for example, if your installment is 1,000 every month, if you can pay 1,200, you can clear your loan faster. At the same time, you also save up on interest. Okay, because if you pay more, you are borrowing less, then you pay less interest. Okay, so that again is saving up money. All right. Okay, so this will be my second last slide or third last slide. Okay, so I could be able to finish on time at 1:30. I know all of you come in at 12 o'clock or before 12, expecting it to start at 12 and then end at 1:30, right? So I know there's some miscom over here. Okay, new year, new start. So let's all of us start the year right, especially if you are a young if you are young in the workforce. That means you just graduated and you just enter the workforce probably just for 6 months, a year or two. This could be your first bumpy ride. Okay, for people like me, I've been through probably like 4 recessions throughout my 40 years of work life. Okay, so I probably have been through 4 recessions. Okay, so but for those of you who are very young, who are new to workforce, it could be your first, I would say recession, but first challenging year that you're going through. So please, you can't spend like as though there's no tomorrow. Okay, so you may need to adjust your lifestyle. All right, and make sure that, because this year it's definitely going to be uncertain. All right, so don't overspend. And also, after this event, we're going to send out EDM, which is the post after this event. Okay, after this talk, there's an EDM that we send out for you. So which we will summarize and repeat the promotions we're running. So do look out for it. So other than the free CFP code that you will get, and the $20 credit you will get if you open a YSaver account, we are also having this insurance airport promotion. So read the terms and conditions, how you could actually save money, okay, even if you don't need the airport, okay, have it and then sell it. How much is it? About $300. Okay, so that can also give you some money. All right, I'll save you some money. Okay, so last slide, I promise. Okay, second last. Okay, second last. All right, just to the key takeaways. Okay, the key takeaways. So do make sure that you have a budget and then have separate accounts so that the money is neat. I would say you need to organize your money neatly. If you lump everything together, it's kind of messy that you do not know how much you're spending, how much you're saving. Okay, so do have separate account, gyro your expenses, because so that you will not miss the payment. Use debit card so that you do not overspend, and then save up for big ticket item instead of using your credit card. Okay, so, and then of course, finally, make your money work harder for you. So emergency funds, we know is important. You cannot tie it down in long-term investment, but there are instruments out there like YSaver or Fixed D or SSB that can allow you to earn a higher interest rather than leave it in the bank. Okay, promise you, last slide. I appreciate your time. Okay, so if you do still can spare me that 1 minute, scan the QR code and share with us how you feel about this session. And then thank you very much for coming. All right, I hope the little tips would help everyone hop through the year, okay, easily without getting tripped and fall.